Hey guys, Chris Eager, SHOT Show 26. We're talking with the esteemed Dr. John Lott. And of course, you should know Dr. Lott's work. He's been around in the gun community and one of the best statisticians for everything concealed carry, defensive gun use, anything that is kind of gun related statistics and hard statistics. I mean, we're not talking about somebody like well, we're not even going to mention other people, but and just kind of make up stuff or go out looking for like a way to justify their position. I mean, you're in the cold, hard facts of the matter, you know. And you've testified before Congress. You've done all sorts of stuff with this. Let's kind of get into it. Dr. Lott, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you squeezing me in. I know you're busy.
Yes, sir. So what do you see right now as far as trends and statistics and everything inside like concealed carry and permitting and all that stuff like that?
Well, I mean, we just had this case heard by the Supreme Court on gun-free zones. Mm-hmm. I think the big thing that could happen there is if the court defines what you have to be a sensitive place, it could have a major impact on gun-free zones across the country. Because right now, all a state has to do is put up a sign that says this is a sensitive place, this is a gun-free zone, they can ban guns. But my hope is that the Supreme Court will go and say, look, a sign's not enough. If you really believe this is a sensitive place, you're going to have like
some sort of
metal
criteria,
detectors, police there. You're going to have to protect it. If you don't let people protect themselves, then the government has to provide some type of protection. And if that's the case, I think it would be a major improvement in terms of the risks people face. I mean, anybody who's seen my work knows that I've pointed out many times how these gun-free zones actually serve as magnets for these attacks. Anybody who reads the diaries and manifestos for these mass murderers knows that these attackers explicitly pick gun-free zones to attack. One of my biggest pet peeves...
Because it's not a hard target, it's an easy target.
Right. One of my biggest pet peeves is that while the media will cover their manifestos and diaries, they refuse to cover that part of their diaries and manifestos where they explain why they pick the targets that they do. To me, that seems newsworthy, to cover why they do that. But these guys may be crazy in some sense, but they're not stupid. Their goal is to get media coverage. They want to commit suicide, but they want people to know that they were here. And they know the more people they kill, the more media attention they're going to get. And they know if they go to a place where their victims aren't able to go and defend themselves, they're going to be able to go and kill more people and get more media attention. So some of the recent related work that we've done looks at how police and civilians are able to stop active shooting attacks. And
that stuff is almost always suppressed by the media. If it is like a concealed carry permit holder or just somebody open carrying, whatever that stops a threat, that almost never gets covered. It just kind of vanishes.
Well, since 2020, we've collected these even before, but since 2020, on our website at crimeresearch.org, we have about 50 cases where police have said if it hadn't been for the presence of a permit holder, you would have had a mass public shooting. Many people would have been killed, or likely killed. And it's what we find. So what we're looking at with these active shooting attacks. So an active shooting case is a case where guns fired in public, not part of some other type of crime like a robbery or a gang fight over drug turf. Anything from one person being shot at and missed all the way up to a mass public shooting. And what you find is that civilians with permits actually stop more of these attacks than police did. And they stopped them sooner so that when they did stop them, you had fewer people killed or injured. And the other you had about 6 times more casualties for attacks that police stopped than civilians stopped. And police were 12 times more likely to get killed than civilians were. And when you look at it, it's pretty obvious why this is the case. Police are extremely important in stopping crime. But when you're talking about an active shooting case, they have a very difficult job. If you have somebody in uniform and a shooter's going to go up and start attacking a place, and they see the guy in uniform, they can either wait for the uniformed officer to leave before they attack, or they can move on to another target themselves. Both of those things make it less likely that the officer is going to be present when the attack occurs to stop it. But the third option is if they decide that they're going to attack with the officer there, who do you think they shoot first?
Yeah.
They shoot the officer first. People have to appreciate when, there's important reasons why we have officers in uniform. And again, anybody who's read my academic work knows that I think police are the single most important factor for stopping crime, generally. But the thing is, they have an incredibly difficult job and dangerous, and people need to appreciate the risks that they face and the benefits of having a concealed carry permit holder is that the attackers don't know who it is that they have to worry about.
So what do you see as far as trends with concealed carry right now, since there's so much more constitutional carry or permitless carry?
Well, for the last 3 years, we've begun to see for the first time a drop in the number of concealed carry permits in the country.
And that doesn't mean that people are necessarily carrying less.
No, people are carrying more. We do surveys on this. We have more people carrying, but you have fewer permits. Anybody who's read my earlier work knows that basically what determines the number of people who get permits in a place is how costly it is to get permits. Higher fees, longer training requirements, more gun-free zones. They'll reduce the number of people who go and get permits. We have some data from a couple states where when they move to constitutional carry, you'll see about a 20-25% increase in the number of people going to concealed carry classes. This is really just a continuation of a trend. You look at something like Texas. Texas's original law had a $140 fee to get the permit, 10 hours of training to get the permit, and 10 hours of training for renewal. They had like a list of like 34 gun-free zone type places that you could have. And then about a decade ago, they reduced the fee from 140 to 40. They got rid of the training requirement for renewal and reduced the training for initially getting it from 10 hours to 3 to 4. And you saw a big increase in permits. You also saw a big increase in minorities getting permits, particularly blacks getting permits at that time. And so constitutional carry is just a continuation of this trend, going from 140 to 40 to 0. But there have been a couple big things, I think. One is just how quickly somebody can get a permit to protect themselves. Even in the best states, it may be 45 days or 60 days to do it. In some place like Connecticut, it's been like a year. Harmy Dillon in the Trump administration has brought a lawsuit against Los Angeles for essentially virtually stopping giving out permits. And
another one against the U.S. Virgin Islands for the same thing.
Right. And so I think the Trump administration's they don't get credit for all the amazing stuff that they're doing with regard to letting people defend themselves. And I think a lot of the criticisms have been made of the administration are by people who just don't understand how the legal system works. So, you have the administration has put out briefs, pretty weak briefs, defending like the NFA and stuff like that. But I think they do that for a reason. I mean, I'm speaking. So look at how the Obama administration dealt with the Defense of Marriage Act. If you stop enforcing a law,
on it,
if you stop enforcing a law, then the case becomes moot, and it doesn't go anyplace. And so if they stopped enforcing the NFA,
it's a lot easier to win a case against the government if the government plays dead, right?
Right. Well, that's one thing, but also you got to get it to the Supreme Court, and because only then do you have kind of a final national determination for the country. And so,
because a lot of people don't understand that if like a district court or an appeals court, has a ruling on it and it never goes past that, then that just affects those states,
exactly,
or
right.
that district.
And so you have all this bloviating by people in the gun community about how horrible it is that they're defending this, and they're not looking at the long game that's there. The Obama administration, when it was defending the Defense of Marriage Act, a lot of people on the left attacked them. I'm not sure they attacked them as much because I think they understood more what the game was. But then when they got to the Supreme Court, then they flipped sides and argued before the Supreme Court that they ought to strike down the law. Mm-hmm. And my own guess is a similar type of thing will happen here. And just looking at how weak the briefs have been defending the NFA, I think is a telltale sign in my mind.
Yeah, because and every day it's like, and I'm not trying to stray too far away from your wheelhouse and stuff, but every day it seems like the NFA is becoming more and more moot, as all these different devices are becoming more common, just we were talking to the guys from the American Suppressor Association just yesterday, and they said it's something like 5.7 million suppressors out there now, so, and I remember when I got my first suppressor back in like 2004, there was less than a million. There was like 700,000.
Right.
So I mean, just in like the past 20 or so years, it's
sure.
Doubled and then doubled again almost. So it's just
with the fee going down and stuff like that, you'll see even more of an increase.
For sure.
It's amazing how just as an economist, it's basic notion that if something's more costly, people do less of it. I'll give you a simple example with regard to concealed carry. Going from 8 to 9 hours in training, you'd say, well, it's just one more hour. But it basically requires people have to go into training for multiple days. And it reduces the concealed carry permits by about 40%.
Is that right? Just adding an extra hour drops it. You see that?
Right.
Wow. And I also read one of your reports where it's like just...
That's back in my book, More Guns, Less Crime. I have that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a great book, by the way. Be sure to check that out. Where if you just raised, like a state would raise their concealed carry permits like $5 or $10, or on the other hand, drop them $5 or $10, and you would see like a market increase or decrease.
No, very big.
What would seem like to most people, oh, it's just an insignificant amount of money. It actually makes a difference.
Yeah, sure.
But where do you see us going for the future, especially in the sort of work that you do? Are you grooming like a whole crop of economists and statisticians and everything to continue the work of your institute?
Well, I'd like to, but it's not like we have a lot of money. I mean, we have a budget of about $400,000 a year. We have like 5 people that are working there, and my big thing is I put in 90-hour weeks to put the day together, and trust me, my wife will talk to you about that. And but it doesn't do us any good to do all that work if people don't read the stuff that's there. Right. And so I hope people subscribe to our email list that we put out once every 2 weeks. But we got to. I'm 67. Carl Moody, our research director, is 80. We've got to. It's not like I'm in a job that requires heavy lifting, so I have to worry about my knees going out or something like that. But we got to have people that take over. And I have an econ PhD. I mean, the problem is in part also I have kind of a unique resume. Mm-hmm. I've had research or teaching positions at Stanford, University of Chicago, Wharton, Business School, Yale, UCLA, Rice. I was chief economist for the U.S. Sentencing Commission. I was senior advisor for research and statistics in the Department of Justice. And all those things kind of give me credibility that I wouldn't have otherwise. I've published over 120 peer-reviewed journal articles. And the problem is that academia is so much more biased these days than when I was going through, much more left-wing. So you're less likely to have somebody like me getting through graduate school. And then even if they do, just having academia put up with somebody who would be doing stuff like that is going to be harder.
And then, of course, like what's never mentioned anywhere by either gun media or the mainstream media or anything is that all these states, these blue states, are spending tremendous amounts of taxpayer dollars to set up what are basically gun control institutes, under the guise of Bloomberg, Rice University or something.
Bloomberg spends like $200 million a year. Soros puts in $20 million. You have the Arnold Foundations put in like $50 million. You have federal government puts in $100 million a year onto public health research. You have California, $10 million a year. States from Hawaii and Washington State and Massachusetts and others put in money on this stuff. So, I mean, it makes a difference. I don't know how they spend this much money, but
it's amazing that all these institutes and all these publicly funded things, they always tend to be like, oh, more gun control is a good thing.
Well, the thing is,
even if they have like a good takeaway in there, it's hidden in like on page 37 on a footnote.
The thing is, I don't know if you've seen the surveys that we've done of academics. We had a piece published in Regulation Journal a few years ago. If you survey economists, criminologists, and public health people who've done research on firearms, empirical research, economists and to a slightly lesser extent, criminologists are very skeptical of gun control. The people who are most in favor of gun control are the public health people. And that's the reason why they aim the funding towards public health. I'm not going to say that the money buys their support, but what happens is that the problem with government funding is the government just can't keep politics out of who it gives the money to.
For sure.
And personally, if I was in charge, I would ban all government funding of any social science research. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So it's just, we have a $400,000 budget versus these others. We try to do what we can on this stuff.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do, and we've mentioned you in a lot of articles and corresponded back and forth, getting quotes and stuff, and data to vet a particular subject.
Well, I appreciate you educating people. Mm-hmm. As I say, it doesn't do us any good unless people like you or others cover it. So to get out the information.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for doing what you do, and keep doing it as long as you can, fighting the good fight, and you're not like putting propaganda out there, you're just giving people the facts.
Well, the thing is, people will notice on our website at crimeresearch.org, I just don't put the summary numbers. We always try to link to the underlying data, mm-hmm. so that people can go and check them themselves, so that nobody has to take our word for anything.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just some soft figure that came out of like nowhere.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you for your time, Dr. Lott, and we'll let you get about your day.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.